Many thanks for your company here on Joy News today. In our first story, former President Jerry John Rawlings is angry at what he describes as the lack of respect within the National Democratic Congress. This comes as he has labeled the flag bearer of the GCPP, Dr. Henry Lartey, as a pawn used by some individuals within the NDC to tarnish his reputation. The leader of the Great Consolidated Popular Party, GCPP, Henry Herbert Lartey, petitioned the Yoko and Shrash to investigate the former president, who was confessed to receiving $2 million from the former Nigerian head of state. But addressing a group of Queen Mothers at his office in Accra, Mr. Rawlings says his party is showing him no respect.
I also pray, and I also keep asking, and I want you to lend your voice the way you've decided to. But there again, that peace will be predicated on free and fair elections. I was hurt because this thing had been attempted earlier, and I took the trouble to explain things. And there was no need for that stupidity, what he did. Why are people worried about the level of integrity we've tried to maintain? In effect, what it means is that we appear to have thrown overboard the mutual respect that we used to enjoy amongst ourselves, the culture of respect, so that each time we're walking a very thin line, there is more disrespect than respect. And that's why it just takes a little spark for the thing to get out of hand. Too many rogues in the name of God being so badly abused.
Very right. Very right.
We're supposed to fear him. We're supposed to revere him.
That's right.
But it's all been thrown overboard, and money is the factor, and people just misbehave and do foolish things. Where will be the respect when you look at, people in the name of God behaving the way they do on radio and TV?
President John Mahama has promised that about 70 out of the 123 community day senior high schools under construction across the country will be ready by the end of 2016. According to him, 42 of the schools will be ready for students' intake at the start of the 2016-2017 academic year. President Mahama was speaking at the inauguration of a third community day senior high school in the Kwame Krom in the Biakoye district of the Volta region. Fred Kwame Asari is my colleague in that region, and he joins us on phone with updates. Good afternoon, Fred. Now,
good afternoon.
Before we speak to him, let's pick some sights and sounds of that inauguration. So those were some sights and sounds from the region, not from the inauguration. Sorry about that. But Fred, can you tell us what more has the president been saying apart from the issue of the community day senior high schools? Well, we lost him there, would raise him back on the phone lines. But let's do other stories. Greater Accra EC is dismayed at the delay in printing of ballot papers due to lawsuits facing the commission. With 49 days till the December polls, questions are rising about the potential delay in the voting exercise due to the lawsuits threatening the commission was raised at an EC-EU workshop on media reportage for the presidential and parliamentary elections. Greater Accra Regional EC Chair John Kwame Amoah has expressed dismay at the court cases the commission is facing. He admits that the printing of ballot papers and polling stations is an exercise that has been unduly delayed by the lawsuits and says time is of the essence. Jennifer Kwamo is there for Joy News and joins us via phone. Hello, Jennifer.
Yeah, hi, Venice.
So what else have they been saying about this issue of the commission facing lawsuits? Do they plan on what to do if indeed these lawsuits delay the process further?
Well, at the moment, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman was reluctant to comment further on how these lawsuits could affect and how it's actually affecting the printing of the ballot papers and the printing of the polling stations. He preferred to defer that question to the EC head of communications. But what I was able to gather was that according to the other plans on their timetable as concerns the training of the polling agents, the training of the registration officers as well, that is all on course. They do not foresee any problems concerning that on the election day. But when it comes to the actual printing of the ballot papers, they are waiting until every issue concerning the EC and its court cases are resolved. They do not foresee a delay, but there is great concern, and that's what I picked up from the Greater Accra Regional Chair.
All right. Is there anything he's been talking about, or anyone at that particular training workshop has been talking about, apart from the suits the EC is likely to face or is facing?
Yes, sir. They also mentioned that this year they're going to appoint special collation officers to deal specifically with the collation of the figures. You know, normally that's the duty of the registration officers, but this year, to prevent any miscalculations or any errors due to tiredness on the part of the officers, they are appointing special collation officers. They are also calling on all the political parties to appoint their polling agents as quickly as possible in order to keep the election process as clear and as free from discrimination as possible. They also mentioned that the media has to be very circumspect in their reportage of the elections this year, and they should also keep an open eye out for anybody who's trying to foment trouble at the polling stations on December 7th particularly.
All right, thank you very much, Jennifer Ekwamwa. She's bringing us some updates from an EC-EU workshop being organized on the media reportage for the presidential and parliamentary elections later this year. Away from that, the Ghana Water Company has begun spilling excess water from the Wager Dam. This annual practice, which is aimed at safeguarding the dam, has often resulted in several homes being submerged and loss of properties. Most communities within the Gas South municipality have over the years been badly affected. It appears this time round something right is being done, because although the dam is being spilled, the area appears safe. Head of Communications at the Ghana Water Company, Mr. Stanley Mate, who spoke earlier on Joy News Desk, has been explaining why.
Since the major rainy season in May, we haven't had a total break because we've been spilling since that time, except we've been altering the number of spill gates that we open. So at a point, we had opened all 5 spill gates at maximum height of 1 foot each, and we have been altering it. We bring it down depending on the levels of the river. So it got to a point where we even had only 1 gate being spilled, and then we had to increase it again when the minor rainy season also began. So there hasn't been any major break since May thereabout. And we still have been monitoring since that time. We still have been doing our house-to-house conscientization and cautioning of the people that live along the river coast. And one other thing that we have been doing is also to be dredging the point where the river enters the sea, that is the estuary. We have been dredging so that flow into the sea will be good. We haven't had very high tides since May, so there hasn't been any blockade of the river flow into the sea. So everything has been going on well, and so we haven't had any major eventuality or any major casualty since we began spilling. So everything is on course, and we hope that it will continue like that till it stops spilling.
Great. And how many days do you intend to spill the water from the dam?
It always depends on the level of the dam, the inflows into the dam. So when the inflows are more and the levels keep rising, we need to spill. The maximum operating level is 48 feet, but at 47.5 or somewhere between 47 and 47.5, we spill because we are also able to monitor the flows from Sawam. So when we expect more inflows, then we start spilling on time. But when we don't expect more inflows, we can even manage it at 47.5. But there's no way we'll exceed 48 feet, because at 48 feet, we are putting the integrity of the dam, we will be compromising on the integrity of the dam. So we have been doing everything possible. We can't actually tell when exactly we will stop, but we'll be monitoring the inflows, and then we'll be spending accordingly.
Let's move on to education now. The Complementary Basic Education, CBE, which is aimed at bringing back to the classroom children who are out of school, is facing huge challenges in its implementation, despite the significant successes chalked. IBIS Ghana coordinator for the program in charge of 4 districts, Salia Ibrahim, said since the introduction of the program in the Kwandai, East Gonja, Bole and Saula Tuna Kalba district, a total of 16,464 out of school children have been enrolled into the program. 97% of that number were mainstreamed into the formal education sector. However, the survival of the program is being threatened with lack of classroom block, access roads, and inability to get facilitators for some of the communities. Mr. Ibrahim appealed to the government to construct more schools and roads for the communities to ensure the success of the program. He made the appeal at the Appreciation Day for facilitators of the Complementary Basic Education CBE program at Saula in the Northern Region. Rafiq Salam reports from Saula.
The Complementary Basic Education CBE program, which is being funded by IBIS Ghana, provides literacy and numeracy classes in mother tongue to out-of-school children who are between the ages of 18 to 14 years before they are mainstreamed into the formal education sector. Since its introduction close to 4 years ago, the program has chalked significant successes in 4 districts in the Northern Region, namely Gonja, Pandai, Bole, and Solotuna Kalba. Salia Adamu is the IBIS Ghana coordinator for the program in charge of the 4 districts.
We have been able to enroll 7,060 out of the 16,960 learners for the Solatuna Kalba district and Bole district cumulatively from 2013 to 2016. East Gonja and Pandai district were able to enroll 9,900 learners since 2013 to 2016. Out of the number that we have enrolled, I'm also grateful to mention, with the hard work and support of everybody here, that 16,464 learners, representing 97%, were able to complete the 9 months literacy cycle.
Despite the successes chalked by the program, it is also not without challenges.
Getting facilitated for some communities was also a difficulty. You do animation, you get to communities in the district, and you get a number of out-of-school children. But I bet you they cannot get somebody within the community that have even completed basic level education. So in that sense, we are just compelled to move out to the community. Because the program says that you need to get somebody from the community that understands the language to be a facilitator. You go there and they don't have a single person that can even mention the word one. So you have to move out. In some situations, we try as much as possible to get some facilitators that will agree to move from one community to go and stay in those communities to teach.
District Chief Executive for Solatuna Kalba, Mumune Isaac Dramani, commended IBIS Ghana, Papadev, and other collaborators for restoring the hopes of children in the 4 districts. He, however, conceded that more teachers are needed to ensure that the dream is fully realized.
How many CB classes do we have? How many of them are potential people that we think we need to help them to at least one day they can also come on board to help us? Look, when Mr. made his presentation and said, you go to a committee, you can't even get a school leader. That alone even saddens my heart, because we have 278 communities in Solatuna Kalba district. And out of these 278, we have only 95 schools. It means that we have to do more.
32 of the 400 communities and the facilitators were rewarded with bicycles and cars amounting to 114,900 Ghana cedis. In addition, some of the facilitators who sat for the West Africa Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination, WASI, were also supported for their visit. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Sola.
You're watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubakar.